if you're looking for a beautiful, positive book to read to your kids, your grandkids, maybe some friends or nursery school you babysit, oh my gosh, I have the perfect book for you. It is such a positive message about friendship. And I want to welcome my next guest, Prue McDonell. She wrote the book called Stargazer. Wait till you see the cover of how beautiful this is. Prue, I'm glad you're here. Can you hold the book up for us?
Absolutely. That's so
Oh, gosh.
beautiful.
It's just striking. Absolutely beautiful. As soon as you see it, you go, "Oh, this is going to be a very full of imagination and positivity." What is the book about?
Okay, so the book is about Star. She's the main character,
Mhm.
and she's called by the spirit of light from within the earth to an enchanted garden where she meets all these wonderful whimsical creatures who already live there. So we
Mm.
have something like Faer the Butterfly, who becomes a very good friend of hers. We have Aura, the uppity spider,
Mhm.
because she doesn't join in with other people. So everybody thinks she's a bit of a snob.
Okay, the uppity spider, yeah.
And then we have the Rose sisters who welcome her into the new world of hers.
Mhm.
And they're very quirky and they're very funny and they're very loving and supportive of her and teach her a lot about friendship. And then we just go on her journey. We see it through her eyes as we go through the story and see how she discovers who she is. She has to get a name and understand that she's a flower. And eventually she just grows throughout the whole
Mm.
book to become someone who's proud of herself and who happy to belong in that garden. But she
Ah,
goes through struggles to get there.
Prue, I'm not going to make it through. It's a children's book, and I'm getting emotional about it. But the thing that I love about this, okay, I'm getting foggy here. The thing I love is that she comes into this garden. She doesn't know who she is, and she's surrounded by people in her life who help her to understand who she is. And I'm getting goosebumps and be better. And it's. I think everybody can relate with that. We are often who we surround ourselves with.
Absolutely. Yep. We learn a lot from who is around us, and it's how we perceive ourselves. It's from the
Yeah.
people around us. So it's
Yeah.
important to surround yourself with people who are positive
That's right.
and
That
don't
love us
judge
for
you.
yeah, love us for who we are and how we are and
Yes,
love us enough to tell us we need to be better in some things.
absolutely.
S-
Sometimes that's true.
So what was your inspiration to write Stargazer?
Okay, I think my inspiration really came from my grandmother's place. I was very close to my grandmother, and I spent all my school holidays at her place by the lake. She had
Mhm.
this wonderful rambling garden full of stargazer lilies and butterflies and bees are buzzing, and it was just like the color and the sounds. As a child, I had a lot of imagination. And it was just
Yeah.
like the most magical place to be in this garden. So I think that's where the inspiration really came from. And the book is set in that garden. In the very front of the book, I have a picture of the garden with myself and my sister
Oh,
there.
that's so special. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness. And at the time you had no idea the memories that were being made. We just don't know the impact and the influence that we have on, our kids and grandkids and it's
yes,
important.
especially grandparents, I think, have quite a
Yes.
strong influence in our lives.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
we kind of talked about what the story was about. I want to twist that question a little bit and ask you, what do you hope people feel after they've read your book? What do you want them to think or say?
Well, I hope that they think it's just a really lovely story that they can just really, really enjoy and that they can really relate to the little character Star and her
Mhm.
journey through her life. And
Mm.
maybe children can relate to her and maybe learn from her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think it is about the book that kids love so much? Why are they so attracted to it?
I think the pictures are a strong element of that.
Yeah.
I think the illustrations that Franz Cantor did, they were just so imaginative and interpretive of the
Mhm.
characters. He managed to capture the characters that were in my head. I was
Mm.
very, very lucky to have that. So I think children could actually just look at the illustrations if they're
Mhm.
younger and create a story for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just such a positive. I just uh, to see a book illustrated as well as this, it doesn't happen a whole lot. It's just gorgeous. What are some of the messages that you hope that children will pick up while either reading the book or having it read to them, or even seeing just the pictures? What are some of the important underlying messages?
Yeah, for me, one of the most important message would be the use of intentionality. I'm a great believer in intentionality, that if you believe something, you can make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most children are very creative and imaginative when they're young, but that they can lose that through like their environment or the situation that they're in or how they perceive themselves.
Yeah.
You know, children often get the wrong perception of themselves from what others tell them.
Yeah.
And I believe that my motto is that imagination can take you anywhere you want to go. You can be whoever you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So for all those kids out there, if you have a dream and you can imagine that dream coming true, I believe that will happen, because I would not be here with this book if I hadn't imagined the possibility of this happening and being on TV. Like, who could have imagined that?
It's incredible, the plans that were laid. You know, there are some children that will have this in their hands, and life is less than perfect for them. They are going through some really difficult times with maybe death or abuse. What message do you hope that they get from Stargazer?
I hope the Stargazer can lift them to another stage in their thinking, that things are possible. And even though, you can be in all sorts of tragedy, especially these days, that I still believe that if you can imagine it, you can have it. And I think if children can just be encouraged to use that imagination that is an innate part of them, and that creativity, which is also an innate part of them, that they can maybe create some moments in their life, maybe happy moments in their life, where Star has these moments of realization when she sees Sun, who's so powerful, who frightens away the darkness, or Moon, who's so beautiful because she looks after her while Sun sleeps. And I think for children, just use your imagination, be whoever you want to be. That would be my major message for them.
Yeah, and that there's hope. Like it's almost a place for them to escape for a short time, isn't it?
Well, if they can just immerse themselves in this tiny little world of insects and butterflies and bees and flower sprites, of course, you can also use that as an escape, I guess, to escape into a world that actually exists within this planet, which is another feature of this book, is that nature is so important to us. It's so healing. And if children could immerse themselves within this nature part of the book, I think that's healing enough in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Is this your first book?
It's my first book.
Is it your last book?
No, it's not my last book. I have another book coming out, hopefully in the next couple of months.
Oh, that's wonderful. We'll have to talk to you again for that one.
Absolutely. Would love to talk to you about that one. Yeah, it's also about positivity as well.
Prue, let me ask you, if someone's just listening to the radio show and they're not looking at your video to know how to contact you, are you open to maybe going into schools and reading the book, or, giving information as to how this can be obtained in more than one book at a time for classrooms and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very open to doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give us your contact information, how people can reach you and buy the book.
Okay, so if they just go to Children's Fantasy Novels, Prue McDonell, that will take them to my website, and on that website you can buy my book. Or just go to Amazon.com.
Okay.
And it's on there as well. Yes.
So one final question.
Yes.
Is there a little of you in Star?
I think Star is me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she represents all the struggles that I went through as a child, trying to discover who I was, feeling that I belonged. I never felt like I quite belonged anywhere. Even at school, I was always a bit separate from everybody else. I just didn't fit in, just thought differently to other kids. Yeah. And so her sense of not belonging is definitely me, for sure. Yeah.
And I'll give you a secret. We all feel that way. I always talk about my friends and me. We're on the island of misfit toys. So we're now connected in that way. Prue, it was so nice to talk to you. Thank you for such a gorgeous book, not just with the illustrations, but with a message.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. Thank you for having me on the show.
We'll talk soon.
Okay.